Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video on Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. In this video, I'm going to be quickly going through how to install a Android emulator to your PC so you can play this game using your PC and a controller. I've been getting a lot of comments about asking me how to do that recently in some of my videos, so I figured I'd just make a quick video to just show you guys how to quickly get that all set up. So first things first, you're going to want to go to their website. To do this, you just type in Google Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. It's going to bring you to their website, and you'll notice right on their landing page, you'll see download official APK. So this is their game in an installation file for Android. What you want to do is click it, and you can just save it anywhere on your desktop. Once you have your APK file downloaded, the next thing you're going to want to do is find yourself a Android emulator. So here I have a list of popular Android emulators that are available. I believe most of them are free, if not all of them. I think the most popular ones are BlueStacks and LD Player. I tend to use LD Player just as a personal preference, and it'll also be the program that I show you how to set up in this video. So once you figure out which one you want, you'll want to just type in Google LD Player, go to the website and download the latest version. And then you'll want to get that installed. Alright, so now that you have LD Player installed, what you want to do is obviously open the program for the first time. And I'll just kind of show you a few of the settings that I have. So you want to go into the menu button here and go to settings. And depending on your resolution, everyone's going to have a different size resolution monitor that they're playing on. But some of the most common things is you're going to want to change your CPU to be 8 cores, which is the highest. You'll want your RAM to also be 8 gigabytes, which is this one, 8,192 megabytes. Which is also the highest available for in these settings. I would leave everything else default, and it really depends. There's a few different modes you can play, and it depends on the game. In this case, Devil May Cry Peak of Combat, we play in landscape mode, so you can essentially just keep it in widescreen 16:9 ratio format, which is like 1920 by 1080, 720. Or 1440p, 4K even. Mobile mode, ultra wide options and presets, and you could even do a custom one. But honestly, if you're running just a common, 16:9 widescreen monitor, I would just keep it at. I personally just keep it at 1080p. And then from here, you can go into model. I would select something like. I guess it doesn't really matter what model you choose, but I would just choose like a gaming phone model, and you can even select like a 120 FPS model. In the game settings, I would just leave it at 60 FPS default. You could enable high frame rate, which will enable 120 frames, but because you're emulating an Android device on a PC, emulation always takes quite a bit more power to perform, so it's unlikely you're going to be getting 120 FPS in Devil May Cry Peak of Combat. So I would just leave it at 60 FPS. And if you like the quality of my videos, I'm essentially just giving you a rundown of all my settings. So if you like the way my game looks, then just copy my settings and you should get similar results, assuming you have a decent computer. And then, from here, I would just leave everything else the same. So make sure you get the right resolution. For me, it's 1920 by 1080. Change your CPU to 8 cores, change your RAM to 8 gigabytes. And then save settings. LD Player might ask you to restart. Go ahead and restart. Once you have it back up here, we're now ready to start installing the APK file. Our next step is going to be installing the APK file so you can get Devil May Cry Peak of Combat installed on your Android emulator. So very simple. You see the icons on the right side of LD Player. You want the one that says APK, and the tooltip there that shows up says install APK. So what you want to do is you click that, you find the APK file of the game that you downloaded from the website earlier, and all you do is select it and it will install the game for you. Alright, so once you have the game installed and running, as I do here, first thing you want to do is just go to your settings. So in the bottom left, hit your settings. We're going to go over to graphics. So the current load kind of gives you a good indicator of how much demand it's putting on the emulator. I generally like to keep it at high. I don't go past this. So again, like I was saying, keep yours at 60 FPS. I did some tests really early on when I started playing this game. I did try 120 FPS. The most I could get was maybe 80. So I just thought, rather than putting that much stress on it, just cap it at 60. Resolution's probably going to be your biggest quality increase, so I have mine at super high. Special effects doesn't take up a whole lot of load, so I put that at super high. Textures take up quite a bit, so I found putting it at high was the best compromise, and shadows eat a lot, so I just put that as low as possible. I would like to put it higher, but it just eats up too much. Dynamic lighting can stay on, volumetric lighting can be on, post-processing on, and glow on. HDR off, distortion off, scene effect off. So distortion and scene effect are optional. You can turn those on if you want. I personally think it's a little too distracting, these two effects, when you combine them. Actually, sorry, scene effect is more like the environment. So like if the stage has effects, like weather effects, for example, I just turn it off. I think it's unnecessary distraction. And for distortion, it creates a weird ripple effect when you're attacking. It's a little too distracting for me, especially with all the effects already going on in the game. So this is essentially what I have my quality settings set to. And yeah, like I said, if you like the way my videos look, this is what my settings are to achieve the look. As for your controls, well, yeah, you'll want to go to controls. I highly recommend, if you want to use, well, you're going to want to use a controller, because it's impossible for you to play with a mouse since you'll want to be doing multiple inputs at once. I will show you how to set that up in a second, but I highly recommend going into your combat and change your lock-on method to manual, and you want tap and hold to unlock on, and so you can disengage your lock-on by holding the lock-on button down, and tap the lock button to change. So basically every time you tap the lock-on button, it will change targets. You want to keep tap to change off, because that means anywhere you tap on the screen is going to change lock-on, and that can be that'll probably mess you up. So keep that off, keep these two on. It'll be very handy, especially once you get more in depth with this game. You can actually disengage your lock-on and it'll attack the nearest enemy. So you can actually kind of manipulate the lock-on system to target onto the enemy that you want a lot quicker if you utilize these two options. And I'll kind of show you how to do that later. The next thing is go up to General, and we're going to want to do a custom setup. So notice how the game allows you to set up all your controls. So under Setup 2, I have the default layout. So this would be default if I was playing the game on my phone. Notice how all the icons are much bigger. They're in easier locations, fit for thumbs, for 2 thumbs. Because I play with a controller, I just made a custom setup. Notice how all the icons are a lot smaller. They take up less real estate on the screen. I personally think it looks cleaner. It opens up more of the game visually, better for my videos as well. And yeah, you can basically get away with it because I'm going to be showing you how to map all your controller buttons to all of these locations. So funny enough, this game, even though I have a PlayStation 4 controller connected, it doesn't want to read the gamepad, which I don't really understand. Maybe I have to have it connected through Bluetooth or something, because I could actually get it if I connect my PS4 controller to Bluetooth to my phone, it actually does recognize the gamepad. But for some reason, it doesn't want to recognize the gamepad, despite me having it my PlayStation 4 controller connected by cable. So the easiest way to override this is on the right side of LD Player, you'll see a little keyboard icon. It says keyboard mapping. You want to click that. There's two options. You'll want the gamepad icon. So click the gamepad icon and notice how it expands a bit. So very simple. You have different options. You have like a general tap, continuous tap, movement, function, right joystick for like camera movement. You could even record macros. So what that means is, let's say there's like a 10 hit combo in a game, you can record those 10 button inputs and basically just press one button to do that 10 hit combo. That's what a macro essentially is. And then you can do custom scripts. I don't think this game is that deep to need it. You can kind of already see how I have everything mapped on the screen already. It's very simple. You just drag the general tap here. If I press square on my controller, it's going to come up with its own indication. So that's what it reads it as X. But you could see it's already saying key conflict. Please delete the original or one. You can't have duplicates. So I'm just going to delete the new one I made because I already have it mapped here. But yeah, I essentially have right back for my first hunter swap, left back for my second hunter swap. Jumping is X. I think it has the layout of an Xbox here because it's A, B, X, and Y, left back, right back. But essentially, since I'm using a PlayStation, I have jumping as X. I have dodging as circle. I have style skill as triangle, and I have my attack button as square. And then R1 as my first hunter swap, and L2 as my, and L1 as my second hunter swap. These ones down here are for, I have the wrong menu up here, sorry. I'll just go back to the custom setup. You'll see here when I go back here, it's, so right trigger is actually for my ultimate ability, and then or that would be R2, and then my left joystick down, so when I click on my left joystick, it'll activate the lock-on. So it's kind of a it's a small button here. I put the lock-on really small and just in the corner, tucked away, but basically when I click the left stick on my controller, it will change lock-ons. If I hold it down, it'll disengage lock-on. I personally like that. It's personal preference what button and layout you want and what inputs you want where and for what. For moving the camera around with my right joystick, I just put that over here, kind of in the middle of the screen. And for my movement, you want to make sure that the movement stick is centered with the game joystick. So notice how the game joystick is here. Make sure you put the emulation centered with this joystick, as then everything will be aligned and you're not going to have some wonky movement. This last icon is just your combo escape for PvP mode. I have that mapped to clicking my right stick down. And that's essentially it. I have start mapped up here for when you're doing story events or anything else. You can quickly skip, cutscenes, things like that. Just a convenience input there for me. But yeah, that's essentially my layout. That's how you map your controller buttons to the game. And then from here, you'll be able to enjoy Devil May Cry Peak of Combat on your desktop PC using a controller to play, which I think is the optimal way to play this game. Alright, well anyways, that's it. Hopefully this video wasn't too complicated or too long. If I missed anything or if you still have any questions, feel free to comment and I will do my best to answer all of them for you guys. Okay, hope this helps. See you guys in the next video.